And New Zealand marks a week since the earthquake rocked the city of Christchurch. That's also coming up. Stay with us.
Business Latest is brought to you by Capco in just about everything. Business Latest is brought to you by Capco in just about everything.
A popular uprising that shook the country to its core. A defiant president under siege from his people. As the protesters took charge of the streets, we look back at the events that are changing Egypt.
I will stay on the air if I can until the police come.
In a special program, AlJazeera gives you a day-by-day account from those that witnessed them firsthand. Egypt burning, at this time on AlJazeera.
The top stories on Al Jazeera: Gaddafi's forces fight back in Libya. Air Force jets bomb a rebel-held ammunition depot in the city of Ajdabiya, east of Tripoli. The Libyan leader laughs off calls for him to quit, saying he'll never leave his homeland. He also claims he is loved by the Libyan people. And a nighttime count of India's most vulnerable. The latest census tries to put a true figure on the number of people living on the streets. Venezuela's president has proposed setting up an international commission that would travel to Libya to mediate a peaceful outcome to the ongoing strife. Hugo Chavez has also declared his loyalty to Muammar Gaddafi, saying he would not abandon his longtime ally.
Just because everyone says today that Gaddafi is a murderer, then Chavez has to say it too? I'm not convinced. I'm not going to condemn him from afar. That would be cowardly with someone who has been my friend and our friend for a long time without knowing what is happening in Libya. I'm not a coward. I'm not fickle.
Meanwhile, Egypt's top prosecutor has imposed a travel ban on former President Hosni Mubarak and his family, pending further investigations. He's also ordered a freeze on all their financial assets inside the country. Well, almost 7 weeks since Tunisia's uprising, and the country's political system is in dire straits. 2 ministers in the caretaker government have resigned, and that's just a day after the prime minister quit. Plus, the violence, which died down after President Ben Ali stepped down, has now resurfaced. Nazanin Mushiri has more from the capital, Tunis.
There is a heavy security presence in the capital. For the first time, alongside the police and army, the National Guard. Working together, they say, to maintain order. In the past few days, several people have been killed in clashes here. The escalation of violence, something not seen since Ben Ali fled. The interim Prime Minister Mohamed Ghannouchi has gone, but the protesters remain outside his old office. They say their demonstrations are peaceful, all the trouble caused by armed militia who infiltrated their ranks. Their demands, the resignation of the entire government. How long do you intend to stay here?
For all my life, to save the future of my children and the children of mine. I will stay all my life.
This is the man who wants to bring calm. Baji Qaid Zebsi, an 84-year-old politician. He served under Tunisia's post-independence leader Habib Bourguiba. Mohamed Abu is a lawyer imprisoned during Ben Ali's reign. He says the current administration is facing an impossible task.
It seems people want to accept harsh solutions. The people got rid of the Ben Ali regime in this revolution, and they don't want to go back to the past. The problem is that people are not used to political matters, which requires compromise.
Tunisia is still a country in turmoil, unable to move on from its past. There's no mood of reconciliation here. It seems the revolution that toppled Ben Ali many weeks ago still isn't over. Nazanin Bashiri, Al Jazeera, Tunis.
Well, the uprisings in North Africa have put other repressive governments under pressure. Opposition activists meeting in Zimbabwe last week have been arrested and charged with treason. Jonah Hull reports from neighboring South Africa.
Munyaradzi Gwizai is a former opposition member of Zimbabwe's parliament and the man who convened a meeting last Saturday in Harare to discuss the uprisings in North Africa. Gwizai and 45 others were arrested, allegedly tortured. They now face a charge of treason that carries the death penalty.
He obviously would like another government to rule the country, so that's not a secret. But I think, yeah, these are intellectuals, these are community workers, these are not people that are any threat. So this is it's paranoia, it's simple paranoia.
With Gwizai and his fellow alleged plotters behind bars, President Robert Mugabe celebrated his 87th birthday in traditional style. In this, his 31st year in power, not many Zimbabweans are celebrating. Some talk quietly of insurrection, but with past elections marred by violence and so many among the youth and educated middle classes having fled, it's unclear where change will come from. Perhaps from outside. The owner of a leading newspaper in neighbouring South Africa is Zimbabwean Trevor Nkube. In a recent editorial, he called on Zimbabweans to become their own liberators.
Welcome. There comes a time when that fear that plays at the back of your mind faces the reality of your oppression, and you cross the line and you say, yes, these are the possibilities that might be visited upon me, but I, as a human being, deserve a better life.
Here in South Africa, where Zimbabweans have come to find work or safety in their many hundreds of thousands, there's fairly open talk about what events up north could mean for Zimbabwe. But it's talk in small pockets, far from home, without cohesion or momentum. An email doing the rounds inside and outside Zimbabwe calls for a million-citizen march in Harare on Tuesday. It's linked to a Facebook page which only has about 230 members. What could be a sign of online activism is instead greeted with skepticism. Some believe it's the work of the security services, designed to lure activists onto the streets to be arrested. It's the sort of suspicion, laced with fear, that makes any substantial challenge to Mugabe's rule seem unlikely for now. Jonah Hull, Al Jazeera, Johannesburg.
Well, police in the Democratic